Boom. Alright, what's up you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to talk to you about my top 3 stock picks for the chilly month of December 2021. Now, we closed out the month of November on kind of a sketchy note, but I just want to let you guys know right off the bat that I personally remain bullish on many of the names and many of the sectors that we talk about here on the channel, and I am excited to talk to you guys about why that is. All right, so before we do get into detail and discuss the 3 names we'll be talking about, diving into the charts and whatnot, I do want to kick off the video by reading over the intro to the newsletter that I wrote this morning because it summarizes my thoughts on the general market environment right now. So after prefacing and kind of establishing my general thoughts on the market, we will get more detailed about the names we'll be discussing. Okay, so sheesh. We're closing out the month of November with a rough one. That turkey's about to get smoked. The markets are evidently still shook from all that Thanksgiving turkey and Black Friday madness. On a real note, though, the reason the markets are turning down today is because Jerome P., good old JP, chairman of the Fed, announced that they'd be discussing speeding up the tapering process and raising rates in their December meeting. It makes sense that this would stir up the pot, especially after such a volatile week. I still believe that the indices will take the blunt of it as we progress through the winter months, and small caps within promising sectors will consume a lot of that capital outflow as they historically have, hence a few of the names we'll be discussing today. That said, I feel it's important to hedge a bit. Although there are many bullish fundamentals at the moment, there is definitely a bear case to be made as well. So I do also want to say right up front, you guys, the winter months, again, you know the waves fam, historically we thrive in winter months because we primarily focus on hypergrowth aspects, or hypergrowth sectors, aspects I guess too, of the market. So cryptocurrencies, EVs, biotechs, etc. A lot of the times, those smaller cap plays and hypergrowth plays see a lot of upside, more upside than they usually do, than they typically do throughout the rest of the year during the winter months. There's just more volatility, okay? But with volatility, of course, volatility does work both ways. There is ups and downs. And right now, the macro, although I remain bullish, I'm an optimist, it could still be a little sketchy. Again, there's a bear case to be made as well. So don't be afraid to hedge. There is one name in here that is somewhat of a hedge, and I'll explain why that is. BRPM, as we dive into that specific play at the end of this video. But vixy, UVXY, some volatility plays, don't be afraid to pick those up just as a hedge to the portfolio. I just want to tell you guys that because that's what I'm personally doing, and always know you guys, my money's where my mouth is. Okay, so newsletter, I'll shout out at the end. Complete newsletter. You want to know how I'm trading these? First link down below. $15 a month, 40 every 3 months. Waves Discord, doing a discount on this. Use code HOLIDAY50 if you want exclusive access to the Waves Discord channel. That is 50% off. Probably never going to do that again. At least not until next holiday season. So check that out. That link's down below as well. Again, I'll plug these a little more at the end. And of course, if you guys appreciate this video, if you guys are bullish on any of the names we're talking about today, if you guys are trading any of these names as well, please give the video a like. That means a lot. Subscribe to the channel. If you're new around here, want to catch more content like this, want to follow the winter journey, the volatile months, and help your boy get to 50K, subscribe to the channel. That means a lot as well. And let me know in the comments down below what your #1 stock pick for the month of December is. Personally, super interested to hear you guys' feedback on that. Okay, so #1, we'll quickly read over each of these, talk about my price targets, and then we'll dive into the charts because I actually have some complimentary little excerpts from, there we go, there it is, from the newsletter that I sent out this morning as well, just because it summarizes my thoughts about a couple of the plays that we're discussing here today. Okay, so let's read over this, and then we'll just dive into the charts, and I'll discuss with you guys why I'm bullish on these, both technically and fundamentally. Again, moving through the month of December, I guess, moving into 2022. Okay, so first off, Chargepoint, CHPT, is the most developed charging company in the market, and I think they'll crush earnings on the 7th. Blink, one of my #1 stock picks of November 2021, last month's stock pick. I think my top seed based on fundamentals and technicals. They announced earnings, and they absolutely popped off on earnings. Now, a lot of the plays that we're talking about today have seen corrections over the past couple of weeks in the wake of general market volatility. But again, you guys, the fundamentals are still here, especially for these small caps, especially for these revolutionary plays. EVs do have, they have the infrastructure bill on their side. And granted, I should say, regardless of what happens to the bigger players, Tesla, Lucid, which I personally think, this is just my opinion. Of course, you guys, each of us are entitled to our own opinion. If you don't agree with this, that's perfectly fine. Tesla, Lucid, still overvalued, especially as other legacy players enter the market. But charging station stocks, charging station companies, it's like when there's a gold rush, right? Don't dig for gold. Sell the pickaxes, sell the shovels. That's kind of my theory with Chargepoint and Blink, and that's why regardless of what happens in the race, in the vehicle race, the EV actual physical vehicle race, there will always be a demand for those charging stations. So Chargepoint, November price target is $35 plus 40%. We'll get more specific, and I'll rationalize these price targets as we dive into the charts in the back, of course. So that's Chargepoint. First up, next is going to be Vuzix or Vuzzy. Been a face in the portfolio for the past few weeks now. Seen a lot of ups and downs, but since Vuzzy has seen such a significant correction over the past couple of weeks, like a hardcore correction that's completely unjustified in my opinion, I think this is a very, very appealing play to me. So Vuzzy is an AR/VR hardware company. They make glasses. That AR, augmented reality, VR, of course, virtual reality, that crushed earnings a couple of weeks ago, saw a huge pop following strong earnings, and then fell off, which again, as we dive into the charts, you guys will see just how, in my mind, like unrational that is, and why I've been scooping up a lot of Vuzzy personally, shit on newsletter portfolio. And the metaverse trend, the hottest word to the Waves fam, over the past month and going into 2022 for sure. Metaverse trend is just in the beginning stages, okay? So metaverse trend, still young. Vuzzy, great play in the sector on top of like MTTR, been popping off in the portfolio as well. MTTR looking great, but Vuzzy at this point looks a lot more appealing to me from an asymmetric risk profile perspective. Lastly, FaZe Clan, BRPM. It is now BRPM. This is B. Riley Principal Merger 150 or something like that. There's soon to be FaZe Clan, but that is the merger company that will be merging with FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan is defined as an esports org, but I define it as a culture organization. It's the first of its kind in the market. So on top of the metaverse, you guys, FaZe Clan is one of the most relevant organizations. Again, gaming, most people associate FaZe Clan with gaming, and they are at their core a gaming organization, but they are more so a culture organization, okay? And that's very important to remember, and that's why, especially going into 2022, when the merger is set to execute, I become increasingly bullish on them, especially because they've just been going flat for the better part of the past month since the merger announcement was made, okay? So those are the three, just summed up right there. Let's dive into the charts in the back. All right. So first off, Chargepoint. Chargepoints, along with the rest of the EV market, has seen somewhat of a pullback. But again, with their earnings coming up on December 7th, Blink popped off following a strong earnings announcement. Chargepoint is just... Now that I'm saying this, I remember that we're going to go back to this. So let's read through this because this sums up my thoughts on why I'm fundamentally bullish on Chargepoint at this point in time, at least the bullet points, okay? So at this point, I believe Chargepoint, chpt, is one of the safest plays in the market from an asymmetric risk perspective. So asymmetric risk, you guys, means that the potential upside outweighs the potential downside of risk, okay? Technically, we're still in an overall uptrend while dancing on wow, I scuffed that line right there. While dancing around the long-term line of resistance, which should act as new support, which is this line right here. We'll talk about that more in the charts. Blink pots on earnings. I only believe it makes sense that Chargepoint does as well when it announces next week on the 7th, considering it's a better company from an operational perspective. So Blink, I believe, is now... What is Blink, like a $2 billion company or something like that? Just $1 billion? I don't remember. But Chargepoint is like an $8 billion company. But that said, it's way more scaled out. There's way more Chargepoint stations just floating around. You've probably seen them just in your local city, town, whatever. And they have way more employees. They're just a way more scaled business in terms of scale and revenue, okay? So my December price target, still $35. I'll talk about that on the charts, and let's do that right now. So again, you guys, EV chargers, regardless of who wins the vehicular race, I do still think the chargers will kind of weather the storm in any case and see a lot of upside potential. And I do think that even if over the coming days, over even the next week or so, if Chargepoint sees more sideways price action, I do think that their earnings call, once again, on December 7th, will catalyze a big move to the upside. And that's, again, you guys, my money's on it. So price target for Chargepoint, I'll just justify my price targets. We won't really go into longer term price targets. So we'll cross those bridges when we come to them. But for now, I do think it's very likely that Chargepoint will come up to reach my OG price target. This has been my price target for the past like month now. of $35. That green line is right there because this area has acted as a significant ceiling and floor for Chargepoint in the past. A lot of touch points there. So I do think that this level will come into play, and it also perfectly coincides with this line of resistance on Chargepoint's current ascending channel. You could say it's ascending channel. We are technically below this ascending channel right here. I mean, that's kind of what it looks like right there. So we are technically below it. But again, earnings, if we don't break back into this channel over the coming week or so, I think earnings will catalyze a break back into this ascending channel. And if we do test the top side of resistance on this ascending channel on December 15th, mid-month, that would take us to my initial price target of $35. Okay, so that's Chargepoint. Let's move on to Vuzix, and then we'll also talk about Vuzix. That is right. So again, you guys, this is all in the newsletter. This is part of the Complete Portfolio daily newsletter. Obviously, every single morning, every trading day during market hours, I update the portfolio and then send out a newsletter like this. The intro was part 1. This is part 2 with the charts and stuff. So if you're interested in that, it would mean a lot if you checked it out. I put a lot of time into it. I think it's super worth it. I'm biased, but again, it means a lot if you guys check that out. If not, no worries. Vuzix. I don't know what could be going on here. So let's take a look at this chart so you guys can see what has been happening, the absolute paper hands that have been trading this stock over the past couple of weeks. Okay, so boom, boom, there we go. I don't know what could be going on here aside from scared hands holding the bags. But as you guys can tell, I'll continue to take advantage of every significant pullback we're seeing here. Vuzix is an AR and VR hardware company. COVID news and the metaverse trend should be rocket fuel for Vuzix, especially following strong earnings. So again, you guys, their earnings call happened right here. You saw a huge pop on Vuzix because they had impressive earnings. So the fact that we are seeing such a sell-off followed by such strong fundamental tailwinds makes no sense to me. Again, Vuzix, AR, VR, they're scaling their operations. Their numbers are great. Their growth metrics are great. They're making progress in their AR and VR glasses, which obviously play into this metaverse Web3 trend. So the fact that we've seen this correction makes no sense to me at all. Again, I think there's just a lot of scared investors trading solely off of technicals, but I do think that the metaverse trend, Facebook, this is a big thing here as well. I do think Facebook's name change from FB, I should say ticker symbol change from FB to META will kind of reignite some of the hype around this metaverse trend, and therefore reignite the hype around metaverse plays within the metaverse, VR, AR, Web3 sector, like Vuzix and like MTTR, as I mentioned at the beginning. Okay, so let's just talk about price targets here, and then we'll close out the video with BRPM or FaZe Clan. So right now, Vuzix. Again, this sell-off is completely unwarranted in my opinion. We saw a high of like 1620 on just 2 weeks ago, and now we're all the way down to $10, which is absolutely insane. In terms of short-term price action, I do think that over the coming week or so, we will see a significant bounce at the very least to this channel right here, to this range from $13 to $14. But honestly, you guys, again, because I'm so bullish on the overall macro trend that is the metaverse, I think it's a lot more likely than not that we once again reclaim this previous and a very impressive ascending channel. And hopefully, by December 30th, as we kick off the new year, we can retest at the very least the line of support, the previous line of support, use it as new resistance by December 30th. That would take us to $19 per share. If we test the top side by December 30th, that would take us to $21. So my price target is $19 to $21, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we can climb higher than that. If the hype I believe Vuzix deserves. If Vuzix actually sees the hype, I believe it deserves. There we go. Okay, so that's Vuzix. Very bullish on Vuzix right now. Any of you guys who are part of the newsletter portfolio can attest to the fact that I'm arguably irresponsibly bullish on Vuzix, especially after this correction in terms of asymmetric risk potential. But again, you guys always know money was where my mouth is. Let's close it out with BRPM. So as I mentioned in the beginning, again, you guys want to stay hedged. The waters are a little murky right now. Although I remain bullish, I'm once again an optimist. Okay, so I believe that the better case scenario is going to happen. If it's a 50-50 bull-bear argument, I'll always fall on the side of the bulls. And although there are a lot of bullish fundamentals at play right now, rapid inflation, you could say the opposite of that is true as well with the Fed, as we mentioned is in that intro read, the Fed announcing that they're going to slow down the purchasing of bonds and increase the speed, I guess, of raising rates, which ultimately is bad news. Good news for the U.S. dollar. And of course, everything that trades against the U.S. dollar in a world where the dollar is going up, everything that trades against the dollar, which is pretty much everything, will slightly go down. Okay, at least for the most part. That's a blanket statement, but there are obviously exceptions to that, but for the most part, you guys get what I'm saying. All right. Anyway, BRPM I think is a great, I mean, if chpt has great asymmetric risk profile, then BRPM has, I mean, some of the greatest asymmetric risk profile in the world. I still think this thing is one of the dark horses of the holiday season, even going into 2022, January, February 2022. If they actually, once the merger actually falls through, once their ticker symbol changes from BRPM to FAZE, phase, I'd be so surprised if that didn't ignite a crazy rally. Honestly, you guys, this merger is scheduled to value phase at $1 billion. And I mean, the way things are freaking valued right now, Lucid at a freaking $70-80 billion valuation. Phase, for the cultural relevance that they hold, is at least, and they have way more revenue at this point in time, even as an esports org, than Lucid does. So phase, I think, could be at least $10 billion. Obviously, the hype is there. The demographic is there. Their fan base, esports, kind of 18 to 36-year-old male, is the exact same ape demographic. That's the same hype rally. It's the same degenerate trader demographic that is prone to igniting hype rallies and like FOMO rallies. So that is also a factor that makes me bullish, on top of like just thinking FaZe Clan is one of the, like, the Nike of the metaverse, if I'm being honest. So FaZe Clan, super bullish. Once this merger ignites, I do think that will, once the merger is executed successfully, I think that will ignite the rally if it doesn't happen sooner. But for now, I mean, the beauty of a merger is that it cannot fall below $10. So the downside is so limited for BRPM at the moment, and the upside is pretty much endless. This is like a very, very cheap long-term call option that I feel so confident is going to see upside. Okay, so again, you guys, you can do vixy, you can do UVXY, but BRPM is also a decent way to kind of reap potential upside in market hype, market optimism, while also mitigating downside risk in let's objectively more speculative, more volatile plays like chpt and Vuzix. Okay, so I would have included vixy. Vixy is going to be an honorable mention in the case that the waters do get murky. Again, you guys, there's a lot of people cashing out for those Christmas gifts. Are you going to ape into a trade, or are you going to buy your wife or chick a Christmas gift? Let's hope it is the latter. Let me know down below what you guys are doing in that situation. Obviously hypothetical, but I look forward to seeing your guys' answers to that down below, and also what your favorite stock going into December is as well. So I'll catch you guys downstairs in the comments. Again, if you're still watching, I appreciate you a lot. Throw 100 emoji down below. Go give it a heart if you made it all the way through. And of course, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel. So again, I'll talk to you guys downstairs in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you guys in December. Take action, make waves. Peace.